Yeah, no, I remember the first 2 months because we live together now. We live next door. But the first 2 months, there's this viral clip for anybody watching where Michael's like, "Hey, if you have a Chipotle bowl in your room, you're not possessed." All right, I'll concede. That story is 100% about me. I know that's where it comes from. That is where that story came from.
Yeah, but you unconsciously, your brain knows.
It's true
I can't bring a girl home.
Unconsciously, I couldn't do it, and I was self-sabotaging her. I was not, seeding the win.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Like when you, again, this is the thing. You always be closing. What's the sales guy say? When we have a guy going through a slump, can you visualize what it's like when you win? So what does Cole Gordon say? What does he do every day he gets in the gym? He watches 2 wins every day. Mm-hmm. He watches, remember I said about immersion and momentum? He watches 2 wins every day. So he sees the wins, so he knows the wins are possible. Again, you guys remember the guy who broke the 4-minute mile. Anybody remember his name?
Roger Bannister.
Bannister. He breaks the 4-minute mile, and it took 2,000 years to break the 4-minute mile. So, the creation of the mile to the 4-minute mile was 2,000 years. It took 43 days for the second guy to break the 4-minute mile. Why? Because the second guy saw the first guy do it.
And wasn't there some other crazy statistic, like within 6 months, like 30 other people had done it? Now high schoolers are doing it.
My favorite was, I watched this with my own eyes, the world record in the 200. When Michael Johnson broke the world record in the Olympics at the 200, like 6 other runners broke the previous world record in that same heat. That's it. Like when you see it, again, regardless of what your political beliefs are, let me tell you, what's going to be hard is the first African-American to become president of the United States. You know what's going to be significantly easier? The second African-American to become president of the United States. Sure. Because he saw that the first person was able to do it. That thing was broke in your mind. I just don't think people understand. This is why I always talk about going to dinner with like Dan Fleischman and Ty Lopez and Wes Watson and Brad Lee and those guys. Is because when you see what's possible and you surround yourself by that stuff, they don't even have to say anything that's like articulate and brilliant. All they have to do is just be around you, and you just see, man, that dude is just like me, and this motherfucker is on his 6th Phantom. God damn, I'm talking about the Rolls Royce. He's on his 6th Phantom. Bro, what is going on? Like, what am I missing? And I don't ever feel, this is another thing I reprogrammed in my head, I never feel like, oh man, they're doing better than me. Dude, there's several people just this week. Shout out to No Fugazi. They're coming on my podcast next month. We had a bigger show than them. They've blown past us. I'll just be honest with you. They have. You know what that makes me feel? A lot of times I hit shout out to Dumb Blonde in Nashville. I wanted to get them to come on my show. They had fewer, boom, just blew up. Now their content is a lot different, mine a little bit more racy than mine. But it's like, do I feel bad about it? Hell no, I don't feel bad about it. I just like these are more moments for me to grow. I reframe in my mind this opportunity to grow because I appreciate the journey rather than the destination.
And they're also doing something different. They're also doing something different. And on that note that you were talking about, just like, what does it look like to succeed and just mimic success? One of the biggest limiting beliefs that I see is like people wanting to wait until they're in shape before they do anything else about their life, especially their social life and dating life. And I constantly talk to guys about this exact thing where they're like, oh, I want to wait till I don't want to take any pictures for my Instagram until I'm in killer shape, or I want to wait till I'm done with this busy season until I can get in shape, and then I can, finally start pursuing my social life goals. Here's the thing, guys. If you're dealing with this, like if you're not in the physique that you want to be, if you're not looking exactly the way you want with that nice V taper and bicep veins and all that, look at the guys who do look like that. And what you'll find out is no matter how busy they are, no matter what else is going on in their life, they somehow maintain a good physique.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I've had abs since I was like 8 years old. I've never lost them. There's not a memory in my life where I do not have abs. And even when I'm working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, or when I'm working 3 hours a day, I still find a way to get it done. So you should figure out how to build your social life while also being in shape. You have to learn to do
Tyler,
both.
Also, I'm sure you've seen the opposite of this. You're a personal trainer too. Even if you become that guy, right? You take that single-digit body fat, you get that perfect proportions, whatever it is. Not that you shouldn't do that. Of course, do that. How many guys do you know who just like work on this and they just think, hey, as soon as I hit 6-digit body fat, the women are just going to like knock on my door. Like all the women are just going to flood to me. I'm just going to walk into the nightclub.
Newsflash, it's not true. If I post shirtless photos, the only people that hit me up are dudes.
Me.
Okay. Tristan comments on it.
There's so many different attributes.
Fitness is, in a way, not that we shouldn't do it, is almost another crutch. to not
Could be.
work on
It could be. Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
And a lot of
definitely
dudes
could be.
make it their personality,
Yeah,
where it's like their
fitness
only
is their
fit.
person. And by the way, that happens. You see it a lot with the bodybuilder community. Like, these guys have no personality, but they take roids and they just get bigger. And there is a subset of women that's all they want. The guys that look like mountains like that. The guy who is financially successful but doesn't have his networking life, doesn't know how to be a leader, doesn't know how to speak, and doesn't understand dating. For this guy, you have to consider like what happened was his money or his life goals, right? His path and his purpose as far as money is concerned, they got up to a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10. But with women, he just kept it at a 0.
Right.
Whereas we're talking about the bartender and the male stripper, with women, it got up to a 10. But with money, it stayed like at a 0. And the answer is, people always ask me, Michael, should I learn about intersexual dynamics when I'm in my 20s? I'm like, are you broke? Like, it just kind of depends to me, like, how far are you financially? So if you're at a certain number, if you're below poverty, then money is all we need to be worried about. Right. Does that make sense? Like, you just find out that low level is like, I got a flat with 3 other dudes, and we live near the strip, and I got where the cool stuff is going on, and I got a used car that I like or whatever, and I got a cell phone, and I go to my job every day, and I'm gaining education, and I'm gonna have a better. Okay, that sounds like a good point where we can start talking about women a little bit. All right, but if you're at a place where it's like I'm living on my mom's couch, and it's just one business after another, and I'm trying to get from one crypto deal to get into NFTs, and then next week I'm going to sell binary options and all this kind of. Just one scam after another. If you're that dude, we need to worry about money.
Can you explain the difference between, like, because you were just talking about, guys that are hyperlogical leading to success, and then they don't speak the language of emotion.
Yes.
But then in that same instance, in that example, you're talking about not being reactive and not being emotional. So can you kind of
So
explain
being
that?
hyperlogical is different from not being reactive. Hyperlogical people are often super reactive. You've ever seen
Most
guys?
reactive
Yeah.
back.
If you guys see guys who like streamers, these
Yeah.
kids who play really good at video games, and they start throwing their controller down. Like, maturity has to do with, you can be not super logical. A great example, grandma. She's already gone through menopause. Grandma doesn't have all those hormones flowing through her veins. Grandma just lives off experience. Grandma tells you, grandma's probably right. Is grandma hyper analytical? No. But grandma, you ever notice how grandma can look at a granddaughter and just immediately tell, honey, you're pregnant? She knows immediately. Grandma knows some shit. Why? Because grandma has a lot of experience. She has immersion and she has momentum. Like, she's seen a bunch of things. That's what grandma a lot of times can see. So it's that type of situation where you don't have to be hyper analytical. If you're hyper analytical, if you're analytical and stoic, be hyper anything is being reactive. Being analytical is fine. Along with it comes stoicism. Every time, what do I say when we get on the sales meeting? Guys, what the did I this week? Every time I tell Grant and Miguel, tell me what I did wrong this week. What do I need to change? I change it immediately. These guys said, make reaction videos. I made 56 reaction videos in 24 hours right after they told me to do it. That's the way it works, because I humble myself enough to know that I can't do this all by myself. I need the help of other people, and other people telling me stuff doesn't crush my ego like it does with some other people, because I don't have an ego to crush. It just passes over me. There's no physical form for it to hit, and because of that, I don't react to it. But when you talk about non-reaction, it's like this. If I put a big old sail up, the sail then pulls my boat down the way. The wind is hitting the sail. It's striking the sail, which is causing the boat to move. You take the sail down, what happens when the wind comes? The boat just sits there. You just take the sail down of reactivity, and the shit just passes over you.